Hi, welcome to my studio. My name's Kris. I recently painted this watercolor of an old stone bridge near my home. The reference image that I used was a really complex scene, as you can see here. Lots of shapes and lots of values. So how was I able to take this complex scene and simplify it down to this watercolor painting? It's all about seeing big connected shapes and focusing on value more than color. If you'd like to see how I did it, keep on watching. I'm starting with a piece of 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. You can see I've got the contour drawing of my scene already sketched on the paper lightly in pencil. I don't worry about sketching in details or any shading or anything like that. I just give the contour of the shapes, of the main shapes. I'm using Payne's Gray, Daniel Smith. I've mixed up some on my palette. And I'm squinting at the reference image, and I'm just looking for the medium or middle values. So even now, as I squint at it, I can see obviously the bridge is a middle value, middle gray, whereas the area behind it, the trees in the background, are quite a bit lighter. So I'm not going to paint those tree areas. Now there's different values in the bridge. You can see underneath the bridge it's quite a bit darker than on the side, but I'm not going to worry about trying to capture those variations of value in the bridge itself. I'm just seeing the bridge as one big shape. I do see the light coming through those small little arches, and so I'm going to paint around those because I think those are important to maintain the character and I guess just the character of the bridge. It helps you actually see that it is an old stone bridge. So I'm going to keep those shapes defined. But otherwise, I haven't really put many details into the bridge. All right, now I take the same mixture of Payne's Gray, and you see I'm following the big connected shape from the right side of the bridge down where it comes through some rocks and into the water down below. And again, that's somewhat the same value as the bridge. Again, I'm squinting with my eyes, looking at the image, trying to reduce detail by squinting and just seeing the value shapes. Obviously, this big rock here in the foreground is actually one of the darker areas in the painting, but I'm just going to include it, anything that is a medium value into a dark value. I'm going to include in this big middle value, big shape. So I'm not going to try to distinguish between the medium values and the really dark areas at this point. I'm just going to paint them all medium. The only thing that I'm not painting, I guess another way to say it is the only thing I'm not painting right now is the real light values in the painting. Now I might make some kind of artistic judgments here as I go along and keep some kind of paint some areas a little lighter, keep some areas a little lighter, or paint some areas a little darker than they actually appear in the photo, just to better define shapes. I really want, obviously, ultimately, I need to make this a believable scene. I need to be able to distinguish between rocks and water and waterfall and bridge. And so I'm seeing these rock shapes, the big rock in the middle and the ones on the left. I'm seeing those as a big connected shape. You can see I've done that. Now I'm looking back into the background. I see those areas in the rock wall, or the boulders, I should say, that are to the left of the waterfall. I'm seeing those as part of this big middle value. I see the rocks near the top of those boulders are quite a bit lighter, so I'm just focusing on capturing the shade area of those rocks. I see some darker values along the left-hand side of the waterfall. I obviously need to define the waterfall. The water itself is very light. It's actually the lightest area in the whole painting, pure white. So I'm painting around some of those. That will help define the shape of the waterfall as it comes over the rock. It's very important. It is really the focal point of the whole scene. is that waterfall. Well, that and the bridge, I guess. And so I want to define that, get a little more, define a little bit more detail there. And I see a little bit of again, I want to define the top of that rock ridge where the water's tumbling over there. I want to define that, so I've put a little bit of a dark line, a medium value line there across that. Okay, and just like that, I'm done with my medium value, middle value, big connected shape. Just to review, you can see here how I've made one big shape that comes from the bridge down into this big rock, then across over to the other rock shape on the left, which connects into the water below. Then I see some middle value there in the mid range, or the middle part of the picture, up into the waterfall. And here is my reference image on a tablet. This is what I paint from. When I'm painting, I have this tablet in front of me with a nice large full color image that I'm painting from. And you can see here, as I look at that and I squint, you can see how what I've painted really represents pretty closely, but in a very simplified way, the scene. I haven't gotten bogged down in details, and I'm just focused on this big middle value. The middle value area does include the dark values as well, but I've just painted the middle values at this point. Okay, now I've let the value study dry, and I'm going to come back with my darkest values in the painting. I'm going to still use Payne's gray, and I've mixed up a much darker mixture of that on my palette. You'll see the difference here in a second. And I'm squinting at my reference image, which you see here on the right. And I'm really trying to identify the very darkest places. Now, again, the scene is very complicated. On that bridge, there are lots of little dapples of light, and there's different areas that are real dark. There's individual bricks, literally, that are real dark and others that are real light. And I am not painting all those details. Instead, again, the whole point of this video is how to simplify. And so what are the main dark areas that I really need to paint in order to express the idea of a stone bridge? Well, the area underneath is very important because it helps identify the arch, and the shadow area that helps me identify the form, the three-dimensional form. And then you can see now I'm painting inside each of those little tiny arches at the top. The light's coming from up above, so obviously there's a shadow cast inside each of those, and I've painted that in. That all of a sudden, just you can see just by adding this dark, all of a sudden the shape starts to emerge, right? It's really cool how when you start to add this darkest value, you start to really define the shapes even more. And now when I do these darkest values, I'm not as worried about having all the shapes connect. With the middle value, I pretty much made the shapes connect from flowing from one shape into the next, You could, and that was important. But now with the darkest values, they don't tend to connect in quite the same way. I just I've done the underside of the bridge. Now I'm moving into the darkest areas here under these boulders in the mid-ground area, and by adding those darkest values, I'm starting to define the shapes a bit more. You can see how I'm just really replicating what I see in the reference image. Again, I'm squinting, and as I squint, I see the darkest areas just jump out at me. And I'm just putting those in where I see them and trying to define these shapes a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to continue around through the painting. As you can see, I'm putting in the darkest areas under these small rocks in the mid-ground. When I'm done with this process, I'm going to have divided the scene into 3 value areas: light, middle, and dark. And just by doing that process alone, just by forcing yourself to divide up the scene into those 3 value areas only, you're in that process, you are simplifying your painting, because you have to decide, this area I'm looking at right now, I'm looking at this large boulder in the foreground and painting that. I'm having to simplify that area into one large, real dark area. Now, obviously, again, there are more values in that rock than what I'm painting, but I'm trying to capture the essence of the scene and that boulder and simplify it just through a single value area. When I actually paint it in color, I will, of course, have more values there, and I will be using color, not just Payne's gray, but I'll be using a variety of colors. And the use of a variety of colors and values will, of course, bring more detail into the painting. But this value study, which I'll have that in front of me as I paint, will really guide my painting process. And if I'm faithful to it, and I keep this value study in front of me and kind of follow the plan that I've laid out as I paint, it will really help me in the end to have a color painting that is simplified and really captures the essence of the scene without getting bogged down in details. And in watercolor, that's really important. A lot of times people's paintings become really very busy, distracting, and just the eye doesn't really know where to focus, kind of jumps around from shape to value, and it's very confusing, and it doesn't hold together. The painting doesn't hold together, and that's largely many times because the painting has not been simplified. If you listen to any master painters out there, whether it's watercolor or oil or whatever, you will hear the theme over and over again: simplify your scene. And I have found that doing a value study like this is the first step in simplifying the scene, breaking it down or into just a few, in this case 3, value areas, and then using that value study as a plan, as a guide to completing your color painting. Okay, you can see here I've added just a few details, the tree in the background, a couple limbs and branches that are coming in from the top of the scene. And I am essentially done at this point. I have completed my value study. Here you can see the value study on the left and the reference image on the right. And if you look carefully, it's the value study is a pretty faithful rendering of the scene. But again, just a simplified version of that scene where I have maintained the lightest areas of the scene as pure white of the paper, a big connected shape of the middle value, which includes the bridge flowing down into the boulders and into some of the water in the foreground. And then the darkest areas have just been added as details to help define the shapes, the main shapes of the scene. In my next video, I'm going to show you how I go from this value study to my final painting, which you see here on the right. Hopefully you can see that my final painting is a very faithful rendering of the exact same shapes in the same way, with that big middle value for the bridge down into the middle values of the water and the big rock in the middle and the rocks on the left. And of course, now I've just added color. So, of course, that's no small step. To understand the value of a particular color is an important skill you have to develop. That you can see the value that's expressed by a particular color and how you mix those colors and get those values. But hopefully you can see, if you compare these two side by side now, how I've gone from value study, which is simplified, into a simplified rendering of the scene using color in watercolor. I hope you found this helpful to understand how I simplify a scene, how I use a value study to simplify the scene, how to create big value shapes, and then how I use that value study to go to the next step of the painting. If you're interested in learning more, please subscribe to my channel, give this a like, and again, I'll be putting out the next tutorial, which will show you my full process and how I painted this scene. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.